Welcome back, everyone. This is Sam. We just left off the prologue. This our buddy Lazarus here had just shot the demon Deskari after his time at the festival was interrupted by an attack of locust demons, and he has fallen into this underground cavern that was created by the scythe of Deskari, the locust demon lord. So he's just kind of stuck back here trying to figure out what needs to be done. So let's begin. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to cut out most of the combat unless it's relative to the story, and just stick to the characters, getting to know them and getting to know the storyline. So if you have a jolt in sound, I'll try to adjust that with some fade so it's not too blunt, but that is why. A small woman with messy brown hair winces in pain, uttering a stream of curses through clenched teeth. She is pinned to the ground by a couple of weighty boulders.
Hey, stay with me. You actually got pretty lucky. You fell down into a black hole. But at least you're not on your own. You've got a great companion. Everything's going to be just fine. Tell me something. Can you feel your legs?
I feel them all right. When say no to a little less feeling in them. My ankle's killing me, but my back seems to still be in one piece. My head, too.
That's all that matters. Now, we're going to... Hey! Fancy meeting you down here. You're the one that Terendelev healed today, right? You aren't injured, are you? Will you help me get her out from under the boulders?
We don't have to rely on brute strength for this. I'll try to find something to use as a lever. You quickly find some suitable sticks and you free the wounded woman from the rubble without even breaking a sweat.
Look at you! It's good to meet someone who uses brains first and brawn second.
Damn it all. I think it's broken. Oh well, I've had worse. I'll just make myself a splint out of something. Thanks for the help. I wouldn't have lasted long on my own stuck under there. I'm Anevia Tirabade, of the Eagle Watch. I was overseeing security at the festival square. I thought maybe spies or demon worshippers might have something nasty planned. What actually happened though, now that I did not see coming. I don't think anyone could have been prepared for that.
Well, I'm Sela. Paladin by the grace of Iomade. I crossed the whole continent to come to Mendev and fight demons. And well, I've been fighting for a while now. I don't even want to think what might be happening up there in the city. Canabres has lost the protection of Terendelev, and of the Wardstone too, looks like. It's a relic without equal. It was placed here personally by Iomade's herald, with the goddess's blessing. I really wanted to go see it, to pray before it. But there's no point worrying about a stone when there are people dying in the streets.
Yeah, things are looking grim enough, but don't lose heart. Wardstone or no, dragon or no, Canabres will never give in. Simple as. Well, we've introduced ourselves. What about you?
Well, my name is Lazarus, and I have come to fight those friggin' demons.
A fellow crusader! Welcome, brother. This is great. I would have been happy to have any companion in this, but it's nice to be stuck down here with somebody who's my kind of crazy.
It's a good thing you've still got your faith. Because right now, to be totally honest, faith's probably the only thing we do have. Now then, I'll hobble my way out of here somehow. The city ain't far, only 30 paces or so. That's if you're going straight up, of course. I'm afraid we're gonna have to go the long way round.
To summarize, there are 3 of us, with 5 working legs, 3 pairs of decent hands, 2 clear heads, and 1 made of wood. That's mine. Underground monsters beware! Anevia, you stay behind us. You're in no fit state to fight. If we do come up against anything, the two of us will try to manage on our own first. Well, onward! May the good deities lead us back to the open sky soon.
This right here, you get 2 of them down here. I don't know if you get any later on. I haven't seen any. You want to keep at least 1, or at least you do if you want to keep one of the mythic paths available. Turndell's scale and one of his claws that you, or her claws, I guess, that you find. It does give you like a resurrection spell, pretty much. But yeah, don't. There's 2 of them, so you can use one if you want, but make sure you keep the other one if you want to have access to that mythic path.
Who's there?
The fine apparel of this young half-elf woman is torn and stained with blood, dust, and dirt. However, she holds herself with such dignity that you'd be forgiven to think that you are at a high society party and not in the dank catacombs under the city. Her fingers grip her rapier hilt with confidence, ready to throw it at a moment's notice. At her feet lies a dead body, so mutilated that at first glance it's hard to tell if it's an animal or human.
Relax, friend. We're not demons or cultists. Don't poke my eye out with that thing, alright? We fell down here during the attack. I'm Sela, that's Anevia, and this is our new friend. We're looking for a way back to the surface.
Really? I'm so ever glad to hear it. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Camellia. I was also in the square when... I can scarcely believe it. How did all those demons get into the city? I thought, naively it now seems, that the Wardstone protected us from attack. And Turendelev, I can't wrap my head around it.
I know it's sad. Not many could withstand a strike from a demon lord. Appears not even Turendelev.
I can't argue with that. We're fortunate to be alive, albeit underground.
Deskari himself has come to Canabras. There's no mistaking that ugly mug. Turendelev tried to fight him, but what could she do against a near deity? Even the Wardstone was no help. Our city used to be protected by powerful forces, but now...
We've seen how powerless they truly are. Henceforth, we shall have no one but ourselves to rely on, I suppose.
I guess so. Do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Who am I? Just an ordinary citizen who decided to take a stroll through the square on the day of the festival. But that's not what you wish to know, is it? You most likely wish to know whether I'll be a burden should you ask me to join your group. No need to worry about that. I can assure you that I am skilled with a rapier, and I also possess some knowledge of magic.
She touches the polished snake skull omelet that hangs around her neck. Do you mind telling me if you know what happened to that poor man? Do you know who he is?
I don't know. He must have been in the square when disaster struck. I tried to revive him, but he was already dead, sadly.
He didn't get these wounds from the fall. Be on your guard. Whatever killed him likely hasn't gone far.
Hang on. I think I know him. His name's Aravashniel, the egghead from the library. He was a good lad, even if he was kind of stuck up. May his soul rest in peace.
Alright, Camellia, I think it makes sense if you join us. Would you like to?
Certainly. Survivors should stick together. It's only sensible. Who knows what else could be prowling about in these caves?
Perfect. Alright, well, we need to keep moving though, so, well, there must be a way back to the surface somewhere around here, right?
That's right. It would be the height of foolishness to survive a demon attack only to perish under a pile of rubble.
Let's see if this poor bloke has anything useful on him. Not to sound like a heartless brigand or nothing, but we kinda need all the supplies we can get right now.
I heed the voice of the spirits.
Our makeshift friends here run into a stranger underneath the city.
No, I can't just walk away. It's got to be here somewhere.
You struggle to make out the man's features in the gloom. As soon as he steps into the circle of light, however, you realize that you have never encountered a creature like this before. The stranger looks like the work of a vivisectionist who attempted to stitch together a lizard and a man.
Wenduok!
The man notices you and freezes. The curling horn protruding from his head casts a malevolent shadow on the cave wall.
Lan, did you find it? Who is that?
The woman looks just as strange as her companion, like a cross between a cat and a spider. When she catches sight of you, she immediately drops into a fighting stance. Her movements reveal the lethal grace of a wild predator.
The do-gooders here to save our mongrel souls, no doubt. Wait, they might know what's going on up there.
I'm afraid to say it, but demons are laying waste to Canabras.
If things are as bad as you say, then we all have to hurry.
You didn't come from the direction of the shield maze. Damn it. I couldn't care less about what's happening on the surface, but the maze.
I realize that you guys have your own troubles, but we need to be in Canabres. People are dying up there. Please, show us the way out.
I apologize if this is a rude question, but who are you? Are you tieflings?
Tieflings are the descendants of people who sullied themselves by mating with demons. Our ancestors would never sink that low. We are the Underground Crusaders, the children of the Crusade's finest.
Sadly, Underground Crusaders is a bit of a mouthful, so people usually just call us mongrels.
You just love repeating that, don't you, Lan? Mongrels. That's what the Uplanders call us. But we call ourselves Neathers.
I prefer Neathers, to be honest. Mongrels kind of sounds like a slur.
No matter what you call us, it's not gonna stop our horns, hooves, or tails from growing.
I don't think I've ever heard of Underground Crusaders before.
In Canabras, they're called mongrels.
Yeah,
People
cover
say
it,
that they
Sela.
come up to the surface at night and eat anyone foolish enough to wander alone after midnight. To tell you the truth, I thought you guys were just a tale to tell kids at night.
That's human gratitude for you. Our forefathers suffered the consequences of demonic corruption, all to protect Mendev and Golarion. And for what? So we could become monsters used to frighten children.
Yeah, she's got a point, Sela. That was rude.
Every mongrel has their own take on it. Our chief, for example, thinks of us as something like a reserve military force. He thinks we're standing by until the moment we're needed, and when we emerge on the surface and save the day, all the people will see how good we are, and they'll love us for it. Yeah, he leaves that last part out when he talks about it, of course, but it's easy enough to read between the lines.
What is this place, by the way?
This is the hall where we remember the glory of our forebears. Sorry about the mess. It doesn't usually look like this, trust me. Sometimes we even wipe the dust off the exhibits.
This is where the relics of the first Crusaders are displayed. Our lives are short. Our glories are quickly forgotten. But this place helps us to remember that we are just as worthy as anyone else. And that our lives are not lived in vain.
The first Crusaders? You've been down here that long? That's crazy.
Why and what are you doing here?
That's none of your bit.
We're looking for a holy sword. It was here, in the center, sticking out of a rock. The sooner we find it, the better. Some kids from our tribe took off for the shield maze. They figured it had collapsed, and now it's their time to go up to the surface, like all the legends foretold. Except they don't have a clue what's waiting for them up there. They're not fighters. And Sul, the chief of our tribe, is dead set against it. He says that now isn't the time for the underground crusaders to take up arms. If we get the holy sword, we might be able to change the chief's mind.
It's a fool's errand. None of us will be able to hold the sword, let alone use it to save anyone. It's not an ordinary weapon. It's made from righteous heavenly flame and will burn anyone who touches it. Do you think you're special, Lan?
I'll pick it up with my teeth and tie it to my hand if I have to. It doesn't matter. An angel's sword and a troop of stalwart mongrels will be able to work a minor miracle. Speaking of which, you're still here, Wendu, which means that deep down, you know it's possible.
Maze? Whatever that is, does it really lead to the surface?
Yes. There are other ways up, but they are far from here. And after the earthquakes, there's a good chance they've collapsed. But the maze... There's a legend among our people that when the walls of the maze fall, that will be a signal for us, the underground crusaders, that the time has come to go up to the surface and fight the demons in the final confrontation. Until then, the people say the maze is shielding us from taking rash actions. I'm the only one in our whole tribe to have been in the maze. And even I don't know if it's true. But the further I went in the maze, the fresher the air became. That means that it really must lead to the surface.
When the ceiling and walls started shaking, the young ones in our tribe lost their heads. They figured the maze was going to collapse, so it was time to go up to the surface. They grabbed whatever weapons were on hand and ran off toward the maze. They think the maze is no longer a danger to them. They've been listening to Wendwog too much.
Don't try to blame this on me. Yes, I told them that our people are capable of making our way through the maze. In the future. But I always told them to wait until I had made a map of all the maze's dangers. I warned them 100 times. But it was no use. My words just went in one ear and out the other.
A sword of holy flame. How did it wind up down here?
It came here with its owner. A long time ago. 50,000 gongs to be precise.
70 years ago, in Uplander time.
50,000 gongs ago, our forebears found a dead angel here, along with the bodies of his comrades. The tribe gave them a dignified burial, and they were laid to rest with their weapons. But the flaming angelic sword was stuck in a rock, and no one was able to pull it out. It burned to the touch, like real fire. So the rock was placed over the angel's grave. It should be here somewhere.
Maybe the angel will dig himself out and find the sword for us. That might be our best shot in this chaos.
Lan, watch your tongue.
Well, you know, we will find the sword much faster if we work together. How about I help you?
Thanks. An extra pair of eyes can only help. The sword will be easy enough to spot. It looks, swordy. Help us, and in return, we'll get you out of here.
Now we're talking. Let's get to work. It's a good thing we all bumped into each other, isn't it?
What, you want to find the sword quickly so the underground monsters bring you back to the surface? So be it.
A strange flash pierces the gloom, and Lazarus feels drops of searing blood run down his chest. The wound healed by Terendelev reopens and weeps scarlet, but there is no pain or weakness. The hazy scene appears a cave chamber. This one or another one entirely. Lazarus's heartbeat quickens and a stream of thoughts suddenly bursts into his mind. Thoughts that clearly belong to another. Treachery! They betrayed me, trapped me, and stabbed me in the back. My trusted allies, my treasured friends, and the people I swore to protect. The people from whom I descended from heaven and came to this turbulent mortal world. There they are, up ahead in the gloom of the cave. What are they waiting for? Are they afraid to draw any closer? Do they believe I am about to die from their traitorous blows? Next to me, a quiet moan. A girl with a golden braid lies in the rocks, clutching her slashed side. She refused to join with the traitors and paid dearly for it. I could have tried to run, but I will not. Whilst I still have strength, I must. While recognizing the foreign origins of these thoughts, Lazarus intuits that he can control them somehow. Let's try to heal the wounded girl. A spark of healing magic illuminates the eerie, murky scene before Lazarus. The wounded girl opens her eyes and whispers, "Lariel, you said that everything was going to change soon. You said you and the other warriors of heaven would be leaving us on a grand mission to stop the demons forever. Is it true?" The frenzy of foreign thoughts comes faster and faster, like a rushing river, and images flash by one after another. A priestess in colorful robes observing the stars. A young female paladin praying, clutching her glowing sword. A majestic, golden-winged angel gazing into the distance, his face covered by a helmet, but his voice ringing clear. "Only if you're willing, and only if you're ready. There is no going back." Then don't waste your strength healing me," the girl whispers. "Your mission is more important. You take care. It is near." There in the vision, the darkness in the cave stirs into motion. Something massive appears from within its depths, a vague shadow, an outline, a nightmare come to life. A wave of odious trooping and rustling emanates from the shadow, the sound piercing like hot irons, lancing through flesh and bone. The traitors fall to their knees before the shadow in reverent ecstasy, and the wounded girl thrashes in her death throes. The yawning chest wound burns white hot. Lazarus's head pounds with pain, and it is no longer clear whose pain it is. The person called Lariel who sent this vision, or the one unlucky enough to receive it. But Lazarus knows how to resist malign influences such as this, no matter its origin. The force of the attack, though originating in a vision, is terrifying. But Lazarus is stronger. He shakes off the pain and torpor, but alas, the one who sent the vision cannot claim the same. He is broken and exhausted. A monstrous shadow emerges from the murk of the cave. It is not real. It exists only in the strange vision or memory, but the thrill of fear it provokes is more than real. The shadow's feature starkly resembles those of Deskari, the terrifying demon lord. In a movement as swift as thought itself, the monster's hand is wrapped around the throat of the one they called Lariel. The foolish angel struggling on the rocks like a fly with its wings torn off, intones the shadow, its voice changing as it moves, shifting from a quiet whispering to a sonorous shout, becoming young, then old and quavering. "Where is your goddess, angel? Where is her self-assured herald? How is it that you are dying here alone? So much from the light of your heaven." A strange calm envelops the thought of the one called Lariel. He recognizes who stands before him, and he knows he will never bow down before his enemy. The flaming sword flares to life in his hand, bright, pure, flickering with multicolored sparks like a sunbeam through stained glass. Slash! The blade slices through the demonic creature's flesh, and the monster recoils with a howl, releasing his grip on Lariel's throat. The angel falls back heavily on the rock. His vitality is ebbing, but his pride remains undiminished. He grips the sword, and with his last burst of strength, plunges it into the rock. Lazarus senses the vision is fading, the rush of thoughts diminishing like a river running dry. The last thing he hears is this: "You will kill me, monster. This I know, but one day, someone will come here and raise up my sword. They will raise it up and save and protect the innocent." The vision disappears, vanishing in a burst of colors. Lazarus does not hear the final words, but he seems to complete the thought, taking it to heart. The words fly from his lips with them. Something else. The heat blazing in Lazarus's chest fades away. The edges of the scarlet wound close, leaving not even a scar behind. Looking down, Lazarus sees the flaming sword in his hand, or rather, its outline, the memory of what the sword looked like. With a final surge of warm and soothing light, the sword vanishes, and the light is drawn into his hand. Lazarus senses that it will remain. All he needs to do is call it.
Hey, are you all right? You were kinda glowing just now.
Seela kneels before the light, offering up a prayer to Yamade.
That was it. The light of heaven. But how?
What did you do with it? Where did it go?
Did you see that too? Tell me I'm not the only one. The traitors, the dying girl.
It's only us here. Your group, you, me, Wendu, and the light of heaven that sort of got, sucked into you. Any chance you can whip it out again? We do kinda need it.
Oh, you dogland. How forward.
Sorry, I crack jokes when I get nervous, and when I'm upset, and when I'm happy. Anyway, what I said, it came out wrong. We need to bring you to Chief Sull. You can show everyone the light of heaven, we'll rally the tribe and go into the maze, and we'll get back our kin.
And what if he can't make it happen a second time? What then? The tribe will just say we're crazy and turn its back on us.
I think... Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw the memories of Lariel. It's the angel who died here.
Lariel? That really was Lariel? The angel from the legends. The ancestors even got his name right on the gravestone. The chief will be thrilled.
You. Thousands of gongs and no one's been able to touch it. And now you, an ordinary creature of flesh and blood, no different to us, get the sword and start talking about visions.
Now, Wentawag, don't be a sore loser. He is clearly different from us. The sword appeared before him, along with the angel's name and all that other stuff. Because he doesn't carry our mongrel taint.
He said taint.
Heaven doesn't give a damn how special we are. We're born with evil inside us. Heaven doesn't need to know any more than that. I know you're willing to tear anyone apart to uphold our people's honor, but you and Sull, you just refuse to face the truth. We are the way we are because our ancestors' bodies were corrupted by the Abyss. It does the same thing to plants and animals. There's nothing heroic or special about it. It doesn't make us better, and it doesn't make us worthier.
Well, if it helps at all, it seems I control it now.
That is just... wow, I mean, that's amazing. Heaven has truly blessed you.
This power is the most majestic thing I've ever seen in all my life. Is this what the sun is like, Lan?
Yes, it's similar. But this light is more... golden? Chief Saul needs to see this. Now that we have the power of angels on our side, he can't say no. He'll have to assemble a troop to storm the maze. You Uplanders care about your kids, right? Help us save ours. Without them, we won't survive. And then, the perils of the maze won't be so bad if we go together. We'll make our way through it and find the way to Canabras.
Well, lead us to your chief then, and I'll decide if I'm gonna help you out.
Let's go. We'll take the short route. Well, the only route, really.
Wendua glances at Lan, who is fixing his slipped bowstring, and quickly walks over to you. Her cat-like eyes glow from beneath her hood. Listen here, you. I don't know who you are or where you come from, but you and I are the only two people here who see things clearly. That's why I'm asking you. Don't show the light of heaven to Saul. Well, Lan is sure that the light should be shown to the mongrels. Lan. Wendua grimaces and a guttural, husky snarl unfurls in her throat. He wants to play the hero. His first idea, if you remember, was to grab the sword and run headlong into the maze. Does that sound like a plan to you? To me it sounds like suicide. The worst part is that the tribe might actually take his words to heart and follow where he leads. Oh, well, I thought you considered the mongrels to be great warriors. The descendants of great warriors. I believe that my people are worthy of greatness, that we are strong and can do many things. That's why we were chased down here. We scare people. But it's one thing to go hunting in the caves, another to fight in the shield maze. Wendua leans closer, her pupils dilating. I've been there. I've spent my whole life training so I can make it through all the way to the end. That's where more of us trackers. There were more of us trackers at the start. We were young and stupid. What's a couple of monsters when there's a whole world out there waiting for us? That's what we thought. But we weren't prepared. The maze isn't just a physical challenge. It's cunning and full of traps. It's dark as the primordial night, and if you close your eyes and listen, you hear whispers right behind you, and soft singing in the distance that seem to rise and fall with the beating of your heart. Wendua looks away. I had to learn from my friends' mistakes. I had to step over their bodies and go further. I don't want to have to do that again. And it will happen again, if a crowd of ill-prepared fighters burst into the maze with no idea what they're doing, all because Lan believes that a glowing sword will solve all of our problems. Well, don't you want to save the kids that are lost in the maze? I do want to, but I'm not going to risk the future of the tribes for the sake of a few stupid kids. Chief Saul is hesitant, and for good reason. He also understands how dangerous this is for the tribe. Lan's the only one who benefits from these childish games of heroism. I'll go alone if I have to and find them, or whatever's left of them, without any heroics, relying on myself, risking only my life. Wendua slows. You and your friends, you can come with me. Perhaps we can make it to the end of the maze together and find a way out to the surface. Well, I'll think about it, Wendaweg. Okay, let's go. Wendaweg nods. Don't show the chief the light, and I'll lead you through the maze to the surface. I swear it. Your first impression of the mongrel village of Your first impression of the mongrel village is of a squalid dump with the odors to match. Unblinking, glowing eyes watch you from the gloom, and deformed shadows slope between the huts. You see some mongrels gutting white eyeless fish, while others are repairing fishing nets. All the signs of normal village life, but tense expectations hang in the air. A heavy-set, aged mongrel slowly shuffles his way towards you. The hair on his head grows in lumps, wispy strands, and his face has a distinctly rat-like appearance with pronounced teeth. And you hear a rattling sound in his chest with every breath he takes. One of his eyes is white, fully scarred by cataracts, while the other gleams with moisture. Uplanders, eh? End times are upon us, indeed. Chief Saul, we found the angel sword, and we found the one who can wield it. Lan points at you. He had a vision and knows the angel sword together with the light of heaven are somehow inside him. Gather the tribe, anyone who can hold a weapon. The young ones are still alive. We can go save them. Saul raises his head with ragged, broken fingernails. Lan, always dreaming, always talking. You're too hasty for your own good. It's going to get you in trouble. Saul eyes you up and down. An uplander with the light of heaven. That's too good for us. Our kind don't have good things happen. There's always a catch. Lan trusts people because he likes to believe. Isn't that right, Lan? I'm the chief. I don't work on faith. Show the light. Wendaweg stares at you intently, like a cat watching a bird, shakes her head in warning. Lan speaks the truth. The heavenly flame flares to life at your unspoken command, bright, pure, dancing with multicolored sparks like a sunbeam passing through stained glass. The mongrels abandon their tasks and stare, transfixed. The light is bright, but not blinding. It is warmth, but its warmth is soul deep. Saul is silent for a while. Tears are streaming down his wide, pale face, but the old man doesn't even care to wipe them away. So it's true. The angel did not forsake us. No. He came back from the dead. He came to save our children. Lan gives you a nod of thanks. The scaled half of his face is indifferent, but the human half is visibly relieved, as if he wasn't sure all this time that you would support him. Wendaweg hisses at you like an angry cat. See these fishermen and these hunters, these husks of men and women? Their blood will be on your hands. We have the blessings of the angels. We will survive and will help the young tribesmen. Idiot! You see a bright light, and now you think even the maze is no match for you. You always think the worst, Wendu. We're not on our own in this anymore. We've got allies. Well, a couple at least. But one good fighter's worth 10 bad ones. You have the right of it, Lan. But we're neithers. We're going to wait. I sent a message to summon all the tribes. It will take some time, yes, but they will all come. They will all come for the light. Wait, land. Wait, uplanderish. Rest a while in one of our huts. Our home is your home. Land sighs. All right, Chief. Understood. Let's hope that a few hours isn't the difference between life and death for these kids. If they ask me what took us so long, I'll tell them it was your decision. Windog only grits her teeth in silence. Audio's still working? Yes. That scares me. I had it crap out on me the last time I tried to record. Finally, someone from the surface. I was beginning to lose hope. An elderly man in expensive, but not ostentatious clothes approaches you. His face is peppered with several healed cuts and bruises and twisted in an expression of extreme discontent. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is August Gwem. Yes, that Gwem. I will warn you, my accent is going to change several times when I'm trying to do them, because I can't do accents. Yes, that Gwem. You no doubt have heard of me if you've spent any time at all in the city. I have a business proposition for you. I'm sorry, Horgus, that the name doesn't really tell me anything. Who are you? You truly are freshly arrived in the city, then. You couldn't have picked a worse time, that's for certain. Only just arrived, and the city's been razed to rubble. You should know that you are looking at one of the richest and most distinguished men in Canabras. I may not be as well known as certain swaggering loudmouths who spend their lives trap-sipping from one ball to the next, but the Gwem Trading Company is one of the pillars of the city, I'll have you know. Did you see the marquee in the square? I paid for those. Tried any festival delicacies? You have August Gwem to thank for that. Okay, so how did you end up here? For a moment, Horgus's eyes focus on Camellia before his gaze returns to you. Like everyone else. Down I went with that accursed beetle cleaved the ground in twain beneath our feet. I'm lucky I didn't break my neck in the fall, and I'm doubly lucky that I didn't encounter any subterranean cockroaches on my blind wandering, and instead I came across hunters from the settlement, although I must say that when I first glimpsed their physiognomies, their messed up faces, my life flashed before my very eyes. But they turned out to be decent chaps. Frightening to look at for sure, but able to keep a bargain. Wow, you don't speak very kindly of the mongrels, even though they saved your life. Pah. Kind words are for people with hours to fritter away on pleasantries. August Gwem speaks his mind, and he pays for services rendered, not with kind words, but with hard coin. I gave the mongrels my dagger in exchange for their help. Its handle is worth more than their whole village. Okay, I'll listen. What kind of business proposition are you talking about then? I don't know what is happening on the surface right now, but I am determined to find out. You have no intention of seeing it. The rest of your days in this village, I suspect. We must find a route back to the surface, to the city, if there's anything left of it. You look like a scientist? An alchemist, I bet. You must know a thing or two about concoctions that can heal your friends as well as harm your enemies. Just what we need in these caves. This is a place where you don't know what you'll need first, protection against an attack, or a cure for poisoning. You are strong, and will be no trouble to you. But I, alas, I am not fit as I once was. I can't go crawling about through caves, playing at scouts. My proposition is simple. Lead me back to the city, and I shall pay you 1,000 gold coins. I suggest we help this man. It is good to have friends among the Canabras elite. You know what? You seem like you can afford more. I'll do it for 2,000 gold. Horgus' gaze is piercing. Are you taking advantage of my dire circumstances? Ha. Very well. Make it 2,000. Deal. Splendid. In the meantime, I shall sit here in the village. Okay, well, we have to go. It's nice meeting you. Go on, go on. Don't forget our agreement. When you find the way out, be sure to tell me.
Tread lightly.
Okay, there's so little spot in between when we talk to Horgus and when we meet up them here, so I'll leave that little silent part in just because, whatever. This tragedy may not have happened if you'd spent less time surveilling honest citizens and more time tracking the real spies and demon worshippers. Brilliant idea. How come I didn't think of it? Now, if only the cultists would tell us they were cultists. Then we wouldn't have to waste our time investigating honest citizens who decided to go all cloak and dagger right under our noses. Go on then, and don't dilly-dally. The sooner we get out of here, the likelier we are to find some people still alive up there. Oh, I think I accidentally skipped some dialogue. Let's try that again. Okay. Sorry, I'm sure I missed now. Double hit the space bar, my apologies, but let's go through here. Okay guys, I have to ask, what's the bad blood between you two about? It's an old matter. Miss Tirabite here had the notion of spying on me, then of rummaging through my goods. I ask you, do I look like a cultist? Huh. Cultists don't tend to look like cultists, you know. That's kind of the whole problem. And you, Mr. Gworm, built a whole secret operation of buying and smuggling into the city. What was it? Oh yeah, magical weapons. How was I supposed to know that all the rigmarole with middlemen was so you could anonymously donate supplies to the crusade? And my cat wants it. Don't you see? I have a reputation to uphold. One that I value most highly. August Guam is a hard-nosed businessman, not a good fairy from a tale. Yes, I care about my city. Yes, I wish to see that its defenders, my defenders, were well-fed, healthy, and well-armed. But to make those donations openly was unthinkable. I might as well hang a sign outside my door, welcoming every single sponger, leech, and parasite in the city. I appreciate your help for the crusade. No joke. You're an alright bloke. But carrying on secret dealings in a city that's teeming with cultists is a huge pain in the backside for us lot whose job it is to keep an eye on that sort of thing. Oh, by the way, Anivia, how's your leg doing? Girl scrunches up her nose. Well, it hasn't fallen off yet, so I guess that's good. They've bandaged me up all nice and speared some stinking stuff on the wound, so it looks like I'm gonna live. They said wait a day and it'd be all right as rain, so I am waiting. What do you think is happening in the city now? Perhaps the city is no more. If Deskari himself appeared, there's no telling how bad things are. Can you hold off writing our obituaries just yet? The city's full of fighters, and besides that, it's barely a stone's throw from a Neurosian. I think our people will hold on, long enough at least, for reinforcements to come from the Queen. This ain't Deskari's home turf. He's gonna have to retreat or else fight off the whole Mendivian army. Yeah, that's a good point. What do you think of the underground crusaders here? I thought they were just a story, to be honest. The sort of thing drunks in the tavern would come out with. Now I discover that it's true? Well, what can I possibly think of them? Oh, these poor creatures are most unfortunate, with their faces and their minds so deformed. It's a miracle they're even alive. The part that boggles my mind is that they're the descendants of the first Crusaders. All these years, they've been living beneath our feet, in caves, in the dirt. If I'd known the legends about them were true, I'd have dedicated my life to getting them out of this place. To what end? The people of Canaveras would have stoned them on sight, and Prelate Halloran would have had them tossed on the pyre en masse. Whatever the ills of this place, it is their home. How long do you think they would have survived on the surface? Well, what are you going to do when you get back on the surface? I'm going to go home. Last I knew, I owned a very fine mansion. I shall see if it's still standing, or if I am now homeless. I'm going to find Erebeth. She's my wife and the leader of the Eagle Watch. As long as she lives, she won't allow Canaveras to fall. Yeah, it gives me hope. Alright, well, we have to go now. Talk to you later. Go on then, and don't dilly-dally. The sooner we get out of here, the likelier we are to find some people still alive up there. Take care of yourself. Okay. So I'm gonna rest. I think I'm going to end this video after the next dialogue. Oh, dumb. I didn't update the spell book. Hold on. The messenger returned. The tribes are gathering at the entrance to the maze. Our people have already gone there. I've warned Anivia and that old guy who wouldn't even acknowledge me. Take your time. There's no rush. The most important people always show up late. Lane looks around. Everything's going to plan, but one thing's bothering me. Wendoag's gone. All the tribes. So you're telling me there's a whole army marching on the maze then? Well, by mongrel standards, yes, but don't be too disappointed when you see the reality. There aren't many of us who can hold a weapon, and fewer still who can do any damage with them. What do you think happened to Wendoag? Lan shakes his head. I don't know. She was always stubborn, but she decided she could do it all on her own. I hope she comes back. We'll struggle without her, and she'll struggle without us, no matter how hard she tried to deny it. What about Nevia and Horgus? Are we just going to leave them here then, or what's happening with them? Well, once we've cleared the maze, the way ahead will be safe. Nevia's in no state to fight, and that Horgus guy, he doesn't look like he'll shift an inch unless we roll out a red carpet all the way to the exit. Alright, still, are you sure the maze is the only way to the surface? Lan nods. There was another passage, the one I used with my dad when we left and then came back. The chief back then, he found it and filled it in to stop anybody else going against the ancestors' wish. And what the ancestors wanted was for everyone to go through the maze. I'm not sure of anything right now, but we don't have a choice. We can only go forward. Alright then, let's go. There is no time to lose. Let's go, but before we do, thank you. I was so happy that I forgot to thank you before, but you've done something no one else has in a long time. You've given us hope. It's like we're starting to believe that we're worth something, now that we have the power of angels on our side. Lan's face grows sullen. It won't change anything, of course, but, well, at least you'll help us save the young ones. Hopefully. Let's go through the main gates. The straight road is the shortest. Okay, I'm going to save this here. I am really annoyed with myself that I forgot to update the spellbooks before resting. It's not the end of the world. We'll get a rest in the maze, I'm sure. But I don't. Thank you for watching so far. And if you like what you see, feel free to subscribe. Feel free to like the video. Comment if you have any suggestions. That all would be great. You know, the usual YouTube stuff. Thank you and have a good night.